Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about NASCAR Arcade Rush. I feel like this one generally went unnoticed, and that's possibly a good thing given the publisher's recent reputation. I'm talking about Game Mill, not the company that actually developed the game, Team 6. Realistically, that just means there's nothing abhorrently bad here, but I have seen a handful of YouTubers just kind of go overboard and just say this game is like one of the worst releases of the year, and that is really saying something in the year of 2023, and some of the worst franchise licensed games I've ever seen. But I'm a simple guy. Like, as long as the cars go vroom vroom and I can yell like shake and bake and make Talladega Night references, like I'm good. I'm fairly content. And I can always appreciate when a game doesn't try and be Mario Kart or compete with Mario Kart and just like really tries to just do its own thing and stay in its own lane, no pun intended. So I'm here to give my 2 cents on NASCAR Arcade Rush, and maybe I'll persuade you that there is actually something good about it, and we'll even talk about some stuff about where it can improve if they chose to do a sequel. So let's get right on into it. Right off the bat, this is NASCAR. This is NASCAR, God bless America. So it should be implied that the following will not be here. Karts, power-ups and items, drifting, and track hazards. But it is, however, as you can see in the title, an arcade racer. So some levity of realism is to be assumed. This isn't Forza or Drive Club or Gran Turismo. This is more along the lines of F1 Superstars, if you remember that game, and similar titles and stuff like that, and I'm fine with that. I'm not always looking for the most technical gameplay when it comes to racers. Some days my brain is just fried from work and I just want to hold down the trigger and just drive. You know, life's hard. I fall asleep while video gaming now, guys, okay? Just let me have this. NASCAR Arcade Rush is it's simply that. It's an arcade racer. Like, think of your typical arcade cabinet racing game, like at your local pizzeria. It's got that greasy wheel and the cigarette smell. Like, it's that game in your hands. And I'll give credit to where credit's due. Like, they actually did manage to work in some NASCAR aspects into the game. And I know that's not something that like we should be applauding, as you know, it's a NASCAR game and you would think those features would already be assumed, but this is the year 2023. We have seen some of the worst licensed titles ever released this year alone, and I've lost all hope for 2024, so again, let me have this. For instance, the little indicators that appear for racers approaching from behind actually have tactical use. Just simply box out your opponent, just stay in front of them, and you've kept them out from taking the lead. It seems to actually set them back quite a bit. So if they bump into you enough too, I've noticed, they become like a rival, and I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what a rival is. I just know it's somebody that's bumped into you 5 times. Maybe you get more XP for defeating them, I don't know. But there is pitting, and if you don't watch NASCAR, which it's a dying sport, I apologize. Pitting is when you just pull in and you stop and you refresh anything that needs to be refreshed on the vehicle, and then you take back off. In this game, pitting allows you to recharge your entire bar, which your boost bar, which is really good considering the fact that the recharge pads that are orange do not recharge that much boost. So now you have to factor in, when do you want to pit? Because on that last lap, having a full bar of boost is a huge advantage over everybody else and can get you quite the lead. In fact, I've noticed that a lot of the AI save their boost for that last lap. So even if you're way out in the lead, but you have no boost, you're going to get passed almost immediately. It's kind of not fair in that aspect, but you know, you're gonna get destroyed. Just so you have to pick when you need to pit, and I do appreciate that they threw that in there. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward as a racing game. You know how this goes. Pick your car, pick your racer, pick your difficulty, and you know, pick your game mode. Car builds don't affect speed or handling, so you're not stuck using one car despite really liking another car's appearance, which I do appreciate. I did mod mine to have these like Tron stripes. I think this was something that came with the code they gave me. I just thought it looked cool. The racers are incredibly generic though, and there's no celebrity cameos, which I did find a little strange, but maybe they didn't want to line up like making the models and then getting the people to do the voice lines and stuff like that. But you know, like the shark's cool, I'll take it. Really, again, the only downside I'm seeing here from everything that's provided is a lack of online. There is an online, but you can only host or join private matches, which is like a huge negative, because like the whole reason you would ever come back to this game once you beat the cups is either to do like online mode or time trials if you haven't already done all those. So like right away, replay value majorly cut in half. NASCAR Arcade Rush actually has a good amount of maps, and they're really well detailed. One of the maps is even from this year's 2023 Chicago NASCAR event, which I was actually genuinely surprised to see. And just speaking on behalf of most Chicagoans, please never, never, never do that again, please and thank you. We want to get to work. We don't need to shut down public roads, okay? Otherwise, like, you do get an interesting take on like the most notable NASCAR tracks with some stereotypical state and like city stuff thrown in there. It almost reminds me of like the U-Haul vans, where you get like one photo to summarize an entire state. And they're just like, Virginia's just caves. That's all they have. That's these maps. It's like everything about the city or state that makes it notorious, like oversized and stuffed into the map, as long as it fits the theme. You know, they're pretty fun to look at. Unfortunately, most of the stuff, like the really cool stuff, is like way out of bounds, and you don't really get to like see it. It kind of just looks like a fancy set piece. And that's like the other downside, is you never really feel like you're actually in the region. You feel like you're just kind of like driving around inside of like a set piece or snow globe. So I think where a lot of people got upset was the price of this game at release, which I think is actually an unfair complaint given what was provided. But considering that there is no online multiplayer, I could also see where most people that generally buy racing games just for online would be upset with that. Otherwise, I have to say, it's an arcade game in the style of NASCAR. It's doing its job. It's not baby's first Mario Kart or anything like that, and I think anybody can pick it up and play it. But I will say, if you go into the higher difficulty, they absolutely can race. They are very, very, very challenging. I made that mistake. The first 4 cups I was just racing through, and I was like, oh my gosh, this game is impossible. How did they program the game like this? And then I realized I've been playing it on the hardest difficulty. So that's what happened to me. I'm honestly surprised there is no medium option. Maybe they could patch that in at some point, because it does seem like a stark contrast to go from like rookie to like veteran. It does seem a little weird on that end. So that's it for NASCAR Arcade Rush, but hold on, I do want to discuss some other stuff. I want to discuss improvements. I just kind of want to like section off this review of the portion. Like, this portion of the video is the review portion, okay? So like, I'm gonna give the game like a 6.5 out of 10, and that's not bad. You're gonna learn about my scale and how it's generally more broad compared to other reviewers who seem to just work from like 5 and up. It's fun. It's a fun game, and that's all it needs to be. And while I understand where a lot of critics may be coming from, again, I think in the year 2023, where licensed games are becoming a dime a dozen and like super decreasing in quality, this one's promising as like a first entry. So this is where the game could improve. Let's just assume that they get another sequel, Team 6 Studios gets another shot at this. I think the biggest feature would be something that they actually showcase in the intro video. Portals. Like, if you watch the intro video, like the intro cutscene, you'd almost be inclined to think this was already a feature of the game, because I did, but it's not. So like, how about for the sequel, we do the portals? Like, how cool would it be to turn a corner in Chicago, rip open a portal into Talladega, like do a different boost thing into that, go through that portal and end up back in Chicago. I think there's like a similar feature in Chocobo GP, but I haven't played that game, so I don't want to speak too ignorantly. Or even just like a portal boost that takes you further in the lead, something like that. I thought, wow, this is gonna be a really cool game, and then I didn't realize that the portals weren't part of it. I think really though, the biggest improvement would be like asset incorporation into the map. I know with each landmark they need approval and they likely pay money, so they keep it really simple and really vague with the landmarks that they do choose to showcase. But like, I enjoyed driving up the missile silo. That was a clever one. But like the UFO, it's so cool. It's so unused. Like, have it as a track obstacle. Like, I see one fly above the track at some point, but like the big one just kind of sits there the whole time. Like, why can't we like drive on top of it, or like get into a certain point of the map that we have to drive down the UFO, or like we have to get picked up by the UFO and then we continue on to a different part of the track? Just, you know, like just something like that, or like, I don't know, like hitting certain boost pads makes the rocket go off. Or, you know, just things you could do to give the map a more lively feel without having to worry about those landmark licensing rights. And like, please feel free to work in more ramps. I want to feel something. Like the Miami track is like a super fine example of what I think the ideal maps could be. They're like fun, they have obstacles, they have actual ramp jumps, they get you airborne, there's like a sense of danger from the fire, so you don't just have like there's no sense of danger in any of the other maps really. Like, more of this, please. Like, work in some sort of trick system for jumps, like provide a small refill for boost, and I think overall just all of that would make for a better sequel. I do recommend this game. It's a simple racing game. It's not complex, it's not perfect, but I'll admit it's enjoyable, and it's been actually fun to come home to and just play while my brain's recovering. This is a game that anybody could pick up and enjoy, regardless of skill level, and I do think we need more games like that. When's the last time you were able to hand your grandparents the controller and they actually kind of knew what was going on? Like the Wii? Like Wii Sports? You know? It'd be nice to just be able to play games with the family. It's an all ages game. I think that's kind of what it's supposed to be. It's aimed at kids, it's aimed at people that just enjoy NASCAR. Unless you're playing it on expert mode and then you're not having fun, it's not a relaxing experience at all. Alright, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like these videos, go ahead and hit that subscription button. Give me a little like, hit that notification bell so you know when my videos come out. And if you are interested in NASCAR Arcade Rush, I believe it's available on most consoles. And with Black Friday coming around, maybe that's the perfect price point for you to pull the trigger. Maybe you're interested in it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next review. Have a great one.